Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Okay, microphone is working right now. Yeah, this is the 10 tiny steps to the PowerShell productivity mastery session. I'm happy that everybody's here. Like the room is packed. Actually, I'm very happy to see that. I'm gonna jump right into it. This session can be a little bit maybe fast-paced, so I could put everything in it. I have done this session already before in the past. It's available on YouTube, but unfortunately, it's only in French. So this time now we have an English version. So where am I? I am Stephane van Gulick, for the people that don't know me. I'm a PowerShell trainer, tech lead, and DevOps engineer working in Switzerland at the moment. Working there. I've been working myself with PowerShell for over 15 years. I have been blogging for quite some time actually on PowerShellDistrict.com. I've also put my LinkedIn address here in case somebody wants to get in touch with me. I'm also present on Twitter here below, and also I have like an information to share here, like that will be that other logo there. In the past, I've also received I'm a former PowerShell MVP. In between, I got 2 kids, so no time anymore for community work. People that have children can probably relate. I was a PowerShell hero, which was a let's say MVP award that I've received from the community, and I was the founder of the French PowerShell speaking user group, which is still existing. Also, in addition to that, I recently created a YouTube channel where I'm trying to share also my knowledge of PowerShell and other sysadmin related information on. It's available right here. You guys can scan it there. In case you were present in my session from yesterday, the QR code probably doesn't work anymore. This one will, simply because they put limitations on the amount of scans you can have on it. So that was uncool. I didn't know. You have to pay for it actually. So yeah, uncool. So yeah, it's called Learning in the Basement simply because I've been studying stuff at home in my basement since a very long time. And basically that's what I'm doing. I'm learning stuff in my basement and now I'm just sharing it. And so what you actually see there, like the background and everything, is literally my basement. Yeah, so this talk, is going to be mainly about 3 things: expertise, tooling, and what I call actually soft knowledge. And so together we are going to go through 10 little steps, which I believe every one of us will be one moment in time in their career, in their lives. And these little steps you can either pick or ignore, but I believe you will at least learn one thing. Let's say like one step can be useful for you, if not all of them, or like a chunk. So when we start our career, when we start our life, we always start with baby steps, small steps. And so here, this example is just to say, even when we don't know how to walk, we can still walk. We still try to go forward, right? This is the first step. Then the second step, we start to feel more comfortable. We have, we have this feeling that we can achieve, things, and we go forward. We get motivated and inspired. And then after a while, we can achieve amazing things, and we're just very good. We're experts, and we can cross that line like I forgot his name, but like him, yeah, yeah. Bolt. Yeah, exactly. He has the perfect name for this also. So basically, we as people and also as engineers and developers, we grow, right? Every step we grow. And then with that thing, we're going to learn more stuff. And then we have our own maturity and the maturity of the team. And depending on how experienced the team members are and how experienced you are, you're going to be in a certain level of maturity, I believe, right? So either, you start your PowerShell beginner, let's say you're a baby, you can still accomplish some stuff, but you're going to be limited. here, this talk will be, I believe, like very fulfilling for you. If you are more like a teenager in your PowerShell experience, or like a young adult, you are going to find maybe like a few spots here that's going to be interesting for you, a few steps. And if you are a more senior engineer like Stein, who has like incredible wisdom and kindness, who has the capability to teach, then you're also going to find some information here which you can relate, but probably like less. Huh? So it's in other terms, it's maybe for beginner to medium scope. Yeah, and so if you have any question, you need to go to Stein. So the first step, learning, which is basically what we do every day. The one first thing that we always need to do is gathering knowledge, which is, okay, it's but there are many ways of doing it. And often I hear, I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. This picture here is a picture I took right before leaving, and of all the PowerShell books I've bought over the time, and not even only PowerShell, and I couldn't find them all. I basically always try to, by interest and by maybe also by necessity, buy every PowerShell book I could. And because it's a different author, most of the time you have often also different points of view of how to do the same thing. And yeah, I just think it's personally very refreshing. Another point why I'm also showing this is that like people maybe don't realize how difficult, how time consuming it is to write a book, to share knowledge with the community. Often when you consume, it's there, you can read, oh yeah, that's fine. And maybe you don't even pay attention to the author. But there are actually really real people behind these books. They put effort in putting their knowledge out. And this is why I had always the willingness to buy and to participate financially to support the authors. And I would recommend, if you do not do it, like maybe do it. That would really be helpful. So I also know about the book because like I wrote just one chapter in this PowerShell conference book, and it took me forever. It was very challenging, and but yeah, it was a great experience. Another thing I also want to mention, so we are in the PowerShell conference. So basically we have 360 members, delegates present here, and we have a lot of superstars, which maybe you don't even know, right? So next door, I think in room number 2, there is Bruce Payette. He's the author of this book, Windows PowerShell in Action. This is the best book about PowerShell. If you've not read it, I would recommend you buy this one. It's this thick. Be sure to take the 3rd edition. He is over there. He was part of the PowerShell team and part of the first crew that created the PowerShell language, right? So very smart person, super interesting to talk to. In addition to that, in the conference today, we have the PowerShell for the Microsoft guys. So we have the PowerShell team that is present. We have the people that that support OpenSSH, DSC, and Winget. They're all here, and I put the faces on the screen so that if you just bump into them or if you stand next to them in the line when you serve your food, maybe have a chat with these ones. It's very important, I believe, to connect with these people in case you are blocked later on down the road. Additionally, there's Jeff Hicks. He's also present in this session. I've not seen him actually until now, but he was at least on the speaker list. He wrote like a lot of PowerShell books, and he is also he's also how can I say it? He's also an author of an private mailing list. Which I've put the URL here. It costs $15, I think, or $20 per month, and you receive, I believe, 4 emails per month with PowerShell information. So it's kind of like a private blogging that comes at home. So I personally took this subscription simply also to support his effort overall, because as being myself part of the community, I know what it can feel like when you have a kickback actually coming in. So if you have not done it, maybe consider it, or just know that it exists. Just have a look. Maybe you think it's interesting. Maybe you learn something. This is basically information that comes in your inbox like once a week, which is pretty cool. We have Miriam Wiesner also, who is here. She's more in the security related themes. She wrote this big book also. I also bought it just for support, and then basically was lying next to my couch. I read it and I learned a lot. So and so if you're more in the configurations management space, there's a Chai sitting right here. Like he wrote like the DSC handbook. This is a PDF book on DSC v3. So this is accurate. It's here. It's cheap. So there's no reason not to take it. This is often something you can put on the expenses of your company. I think it's $15 or so. So it's voilà. And the author is sitting right here. In addition to that, we have other very good, very known people. We have the Pester guy, Jacob, who is basically the principal maintainer, or one of the big maintainers of the PowerShell, of the Pester repository. He has a ton of knowledge about testing. He's super friendly, super fun also, so go talk to them. Then we have the DBA tools and checks guys, Rob and Jess. They're also fun to speak with. And we have the hello guy, of course, which is Gael. He is actually the organizer of this conference. Really, without him, we will not be here. Yeah, just have a chat with these guys. I think you will be able to gain something about it. To summarize, like basically we need to get help and we need to stay connected. I put some links here to some important PowerShell community members, I believe, on Twitter, and like the PowerShell blog, and the link to the Discord where a lot of people are hanging out, and come see me on the French channel. And then we are also on Blue Sky, but I couldn't remember I have no idea of Blue Sky, but there's also the PowerShell community on Blue Sky, which we should Google. Then the second step is following the guidance. So basically, the PowerShell community, even before my time actually, has gathered, let's say, and created like a bunch of rules, so best practices. So there are like a lot of seniors. Not a lot of these seniors are still present in the in the community, because often they got retired. I'm thinking of Don Jones, Richard Sidaway, Joel Bennett. I think he's still part of the community, he's still active. But these people have gathered their thought of what would be the best practices. They come with their own experience from other languages and they define these best practices. So this is basically, you have a set of rules that you can just, at least I think you should read them once. And these are, hey, do this, don't do that type of things, which you should be aware of and have read at least once, I believe. So there's a link here as well, and I'll come back to that in just a few seconds. And so basically what you can find in that is some things like, recommendations on the code layout, Pascal case should be used, PowerShell language keyword should be written in lowercase for each, switch, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of practical guidance on syntax details, like the for performance, aesthetics of code, and some other conventions. So really go through the read. And this is, some details about functions. Please, if you write notes, please add details about your function in your notes, so it explains a little bit the context of when you use this function. This is just my personal ask to you guys. And then with that, now that we have done this first step, we have the coding, the best practices, we can create our own standards, right? This would be a third step, and actually do something what we call coding guidelines. So this will be, when you're in a team, you can actually go ahead and create a set of rules that your team will adhere to regarding the code structure and the code processes. You can base it on the PowerShell guidelines, which is great. You already, you don't have to start from scratch. And so basically you can actually copy and paste this or parts of it. And also based on the team members' own experience. If you have team members that come from other languages, Python, JavaScript, C#, they probably also have, feedback or ideas that you can integrate based on their own experience. And, ultimately you can have coding guidelines for the team and or for the company, depending on how big you are, etc. Define a set of coding rules with your team, okay. And so you can go ahead and create, this is just an example. You can talk about what a function-based structure should look like. So you're going to create a set of rules. Okay, function should have, this casing. It should have like a comment-based help. The structure should look like this. It should be inside the function. Please put it inside. I don't like it when it's outside, but this is a personal preference. Use specific modules for specific tasks. So, use PSHTML if you write HTML static reports instead of doing plus equal, HTML tag plus equal and, concatenating strings. Or if you work with SQL related tasks, use DBA tools. If you're writing tests, use Pester and not PSRule, for example. And you define your brace style. Brace style is how your braces align when you format, so either like on the same line or not. And like things like code cannot go into production while not all tests have passed. It might sound obvious, but sometimes it's not. And why am I saying all of this? So like this out of the blue is maybe a little bit like decoupled. With this one later on, when these things are defined, this is a convention and you can build tooling on top of that or based on that. And this will become very handy for accurate code reviews. And this, I'm going to go more in depth like later on this. Being smart about your code. So who uses Git here? Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Everybody left his hand. So that's perfect. So Git is, I actually don't even need to present it. Actually, I can just go over here. So when we look at PowerShell, PowerShell can be, in my opinion, divided in either commands, snippets, scripts, functions, and modules, right? And so not everything has to be in Git or in a Git repository, but to a minimum, I think scripts, functions, and modules should be. Maybe not individual functions, but like functions that are part of a script or part of a module. And then like if you have a doubt of, hey, should I put this, if it's not one of these cases, and if you have a doubt if you should put this in a Git repository, you like the true only question is like, hey, is this code used in production? If yes, then put it in Git. That's it. So Git is not only Git locally, we also have Git repository, and this is actually where it becomes really, really interesting. It powers everything up. We have then like tools like GitLab, GitHub, Azure DevOps, where basically you can actually host, you can make changes to your code and then push it on this remote repository. So this makes your code available centrally, and also in addition to that, searchable if you organize your repositories correctly. So you need to be a little bit smart about it, and for example, have a repository for your team or for your section, and in there all your Git repositories from which you are responsible for, so that when you do a search, for example, you have a problem in production regarding to reg key or so, I'm not sure from where it come from. If you do not have enough logging information, you can go ahead and do a central search in your code base, right? And so this can actually really be helpful. Also, this is a good thing for reusability of your code. You can actually search for elements, and in one way you can see all what is in production actually, and copy and paste from here actually. Code improvements, code structure. So basically here I'm going to talk just about a few rules which I would recommend. So functions, verb, noun, with some exceptions, like specifically for private functions, you don't need to have that's disturbing me. You don't need to have a verb, noun actually in your sentences. Comment-based help, please inside the function. So if you use advanced function, use advanced function. So with commanded binding, the param block, begin, process, and end. If you want to use pipeline input, and last but not least, use the output type attribute. So all of this for functions. This is not mandatory. If you put it, it will not be binding. That means that if you specify here string or datetime, let's say we specify datetime and we do not return a datetime, we return an int, the function will not throw an error. In comparison with classes will not allow you to do that. This is another advantage of classes. But at least you would have that information for the next developer, for the operator. And also when you do a get command on that function, you will be able to see the return type in the help. But it's not binding actually, unfortunately. So here we have an example, just on a high level, how it can look like. The green part is the comment-based help. And here we have just the process block. So module architecture 101, in the minimum, it should, I believe, look like this. We have a PSM1 and a PSD1. The PSM1, the inside of the PSM1 should, in my opinion, be structured as is here. So enums first, classes, private functions, public functions, and then a signature. And in addition to that, we should have the PSD1, which allows you to specify things like the functions to export. So basically, which are your functions that are public, with which PowerShell version do you support this module? Are the dependent modules needed for your module to work? And some metadata like author, tags, and project URI, specifically if you push it to a repository. A project URI is always good to point to if it's an internal code thing, to point to where the code is located, or actually to the wiki page if there's documentation to this for the end user. And so we had this structure, this one big PSM1 file with so classes, functions, etc. If you, as a developer, if you write all your code directly into this PSM1 file, after a while, if your module grows and grows, that file is going to be very, very, very big, and it's going to become a bit difficult to manage it. So very quickly, the community actually took this approach of dividing the things in logical structures. So we have very often classes which are in a broken down in their own single PS1 files. Every class in a file, or a nature of classes that go together, because classes can have inheritance. So it's good to put them together by nature, let's say, in a single file. Same thing for private functions, which will be in a private folder, and public functions in a public folder. We see here private functions, they do not have, for example, the hyphen. That is one convention I like to use for private stuff. No hyphens. And then public, they have a hyphen. And then all of this is then we have those individual elements, and we have then something what we call a build process, which will go and actually recreate this PSM1 file together with the PSD1. And by doing that, you allow to want to separate the elements, you can easily find them in your VS Code. And additionally, also when you do changes and you push them to your Git repository, you won't have one single file that will be changed. You will see the individual file here, and it will be very clear to see which functions have been changed just by seeing which files have green in them. So project structure here 101. This is done basically just an example here. This is PSHTML, an open source project of mine where we can see I implemented this pattern. We see the classes. We have a folder called functions, and then inside we have private and public. And so the advantage of doing that, of respecting this, is like there's a pattern. There's like let's say, best practice that everybody is going to follow. And people have written tools actually to do exactly that, create the build based on this structure. So if you move to another company or somebody joins from another company, they can actually hop on this process because it's well known. So here I have a demo. Here, I want to show also like the module structure. So the inside of a module, I now add these regions. I didn't do it before, and I'm going to show you in a later step why. So we have a region enums, classes, and inside here I have my classes. In addition to that, for classes, I also add regions for my properties, for my constructors, and for my methods. And some people, might say, oh, it's overkill. We know already by definition that properties are on top, it's redundant. Yes, but no. And I will show you in just a second why I like to do that. And here we have an example of where where we don't have the regions. It's visible, but I still prefer it with. And also, you can have your own tooling that actually generates these things. And so then we arrive to step number 6, the VS Code settings. So we're going to talk about 3 things in VS Code here: shortcut, settings, and extensions. So first of all, shortcuts, just a few that I actually really like. So here you see I did Shift Alt up or Shift Alt down on one line, and it goes and it copies it up, or it copies that line down. If you do Alt up or Alt down, it will simply take that line and move it upwards or move it downwards. And you see here, like I'm shuffling a little bit the code, make it not pretty. And if you do Control Alt F, you actually format your code using the coding style that you have defined as an OTBS. And so, and then Control Alt up and down here, like you can select one or more lines at the same time, and then you can modify, multiple lines at the same time here. See, like I added plop here, like I made a mistake. I pressed enter, I didn't want to, and I made an error on 3 lines, 3 different lines. But so these are like small little things that I really liked, and so here that I put them just for reference in the slide in case you guys want to come back to it. Okay, people take a picture. So outline. Who knows outline? Okay, only one hand, 2 hands. Okay, great. So like this actually changed a lot for me. I know some people don't like it, but I personally love it. So I hope you guys gonna agree with me. So remember, like I said, we have these region stuff, and I also have region in the properties. I'm gonna show you why. So at the bottom left in VS Code, you have this thing called outline, but it's bottom left, and it's there like it's in the wrong place, I believe. If you open view and you click apparence and select sidebar, you can take that thing or something else if you want and shift it on the right side. And here I actually shifted like a little bit wrong. Like you see, I'm confused here. Why? I'm going to shift it above there, and there it's perfect. It should be there. And see, you have like the chat and now this outline. And if you click here, you have the overview of that PSM1 file on the right. And so you have every method, every property, every region available to you with this thing. And so if you click, it will go to the part of your code and will highlight it. In addition to that, if you click this thing here, collapse all, it will collapse everything, and everything is nice and neat. So when you start your day, you do collapse all, you start with that, and it's pretty cool. There's follow cursor, which is also nice. It's the other way around. If you enable that, when you click on the code inside of your file, you see it gets activated on the right side as well, on that editor, on the editor, on the outline. And see, now these regions, why I have these regions in my classes, because in the class you can see immediately, okay, I'm searching for a method, okay, and then you can just go in the region method. Otherwise, you have the properties, the methods, the constructors all, after each other, and it can be a bit confusing otherwise. You can sort by name, etc. But yeah, frankly, the two things here, if you need to remember something, is this outline, collapse all, and the follow cursor. These things are, in my opinion, very useful, and it gives very quickly an overview actually of what you have. So yeah, some VS Code settings. I'm just going to mention them. I'm not going to show them. So mouse zoom, the first thing I enable is you can do control mouse, and then you can control on the keyboard and then mouse, so you can zoom on the code. When you get a little bit older, you actually need to do that, which is my case. And yeah, format code on, this is an option, so I'm going to show them all like in the next slide. Format code on, basically the format code, the Control Alt F I did, where it would align everything. You can do that also like on save. So when you do Control S, it will automatically format it. On paste, so when you do Control V, the part you're going to paste is also going to be formatted. And then code formatting. Be careful if you do it on save. I've had the case where I was modifying existing code bases, which I didn't write. It was way before my time, and when I did Control S, it would format everything, and I didn't realize it. And then when I did my commit, I had hundreds of lines that changed, although I just adapted a for each or so. And so yeah, I had to redo another commit. So yeah. So if you are in this case, I would recommend, if it's a code base you have not worked before, do Control Alt F before, format the code, Git it, save it in Git, push it with a comment like beautify or something, and then do your modification. So at least these two things are not in the same commit. So these are the settings that I was mentioning about. So yeah, see people taking picture. Do another one. So VS Code extensions. So we know them, we love them. I'm going to show you 3 that I actually really love. You probably already know these ones, but so CSV Rainbow is one I really like. So here we have a CSV file, which is very plain, very sad. It's white, and it's we don't like, when you look at it, you don't really see the differences. Here I'm just simply enabling it, and we see here directly, boom, we have these colors. Every line every header has its own color, and so when it's a longer line, a longer element, you can see where it starts and where it ends, and so that's actually really helpful. And yeah, sometimes you can get confused and these colors actually really help to not be confused. The second thing is indent rainbow, same thing, kind of with the color. So if you have a look at some code now here, before enabling, we have no really visual markers except this line here that goes down from the if to the else, which is already great, to be honest. So now I'm enabling this one here, and we see we have now these colors, and so we see actually from where to where the indentation starts and ends. So this helps just by skimming the code, just by scrolling it. You see, okay, this starts here, this if, where does this else block stops, right? And so in addition to that, you also have that on the curly braces and stuff. And so here the error lens is also very nice by enabling it. which I'm doing right here. I'm adding like an error now in this file. And normally, you would not see that directly. And here we see the error just next to the place where the error is, right? Which is really handy. So it can be very, very verbose if you have a lot of errors like suddenly somewhere. So, but just for information. And here I'm trying to create another error, which I cannot do. Yeah, that's it. And so all of this, and actually way more, is actually part of a video I currently have in the pipeline for my YouTube channel. Like sneak peek, this is the thumbnail that will be out with it. So if you want, you guys can scan it here. You will arrive actually to an existing video. I would recommend you guys subscribe. So when it gets out, I mean, if you're interested in it, of course, you will get notified that this video is out. And so it's going to be the next one. Okay, I have to hurry up. And so the extension, then we also have the PowerShell extension pack, maintained by Justin Groth. An extension pack is basically you install one extension. It's a kind of a zip, and it contains a lot of other extensions. And so Justin created this extension pack, which has a lot of, or like the best PowerShell extensions here are available. I don't like all of them, so like I'm not installing it from his extension pack, but at least have a look at it. You might find something that you also like. So the prompt, I'm gonna go a little bit faster. The prompt of a PowerShell is, I need to click. Is it working? Yeah. So this is the prompt in a PowerShell terminal. Actually, it is code. It's not something by default, and it's defined by this function prompt. And I'm showing here the definition. This is the current code of this specific prompt. And you can actually overwrite this code and create your own prompt if you want, and if you want to look cool, in front of your colleagues. And so, yeah, I'm just going to paste some code here, and just to show you an example of that you can actually customize this prompt. And so you can actually push this concept pretty far, though this has no real meaning here. It was just to underline that this is possible. So you can get creative and make stuff here more visible. So yeah, the prompt, okay, this is just for reference, sorry. And here we also have the link to the documentation of Microsoft. And then Oh My Posh, which is a super cool addition which you can install, which I'm going to install now using Winget. So Winget install is written by Jan de Dobbelier, is a Dutch guy. So yeah, I'm just installing it here, putting on my machine. It goes super quick. And I'm going to open another terminal so that the variables are loaded. So that's one of the benefits also of using Windows Terminal. I'm copying this. This is from his help file. Basically, you point to a JSON file where he has a lot of settings in it. I press enter, and voila, here we have a terminal that looks super cool. But it's not only cool, it's also useful. Right, so you can see you have a lot of information, the time, how long this command lasted. I'm initializing here like a Git repository. We see the yellow part now became master. This is because this is now freshly a Git thing. Then I'm trying to go on a Git branch called dev, but like this is not how you do it. Like this branch didn't exist. So I am going to create a Git branch, a dev branch. You see, like the yellow part now is called dev. Also, like the purple part, the rose part, the pink part, sorry, is the name of the folder where we are in, and etc. And each time we have the amount of time, like the command actually lasted. So this is, I believe, very interesting. Maybe not to something you install on all your servers, but for your own personal preference, that's actually pretty cool. So Windows Terminal, I'm gonna skip. I wanna because Windows Terminal tabs other PowerShell in each tab and configurable settings. Voilà. Then soft skills. Yeah. So This might be obvious for some people, but depending on where you are in your maturity, maybe all of these things are not in place, right? So if you work on some stuff, it really makes sense to document what you're doing in a ticketing system like Jira, or like Azure DevOps has also something, I forgot the name of it now. Yeah, and so yeah, basically, if you do that, or ask your boss to give you concrete tickets with exhaustive description, what needs to be done and accomplished, with measurable acceptance criteria. If it's not measurable, then you just refuse the work, because otherwise it can keep changing and it can be a never-ending project, and this might lead you to burnout, right? Believe me, that's experience here. So yeah, and in that ticket, put everything that is related to this task. So yeah, docs, open bugs, if you needed to open network routes extra, Git location, and potential pull requests. So everything is in one single place, and you can just reference one link regarding to this project. It should also have, so this comes from Scrum, it should also have like a definition of ready and a definition of done. Basically just a list of checklists, of checkboxes from, hey, this is ready when this, and this is accomplished. So we have port 123, which is open. We are member of group A, B, C, and CDE, and it will be only considered as done once the test passed, once the it's documented here in this wiki page, etc. Then, yeah, if you work with Scrum, probably most of you guys already do this, but yeah, you can actually then bring this work forward, and this is where it's actually really important, is to have this review process. And in the past, this was very underrated, actually, depending on the maturity of your team, but my experience, it was very underrated. And here there was really like a lot of things that that we could do way better. And so in here is where you actually give your ticket, you only give it to a colleague of yours, and you say, hey, look, go look at this ticket, double check the definition of done, right? Compare everything that is in there with our coding guidelines. And if everything matches, check everything that is done. If it's something is missing, give the ticket back to me. I will fix it. I'll give it back to you afterwards. And then when all those definitions of done are done, then you can go. And this is where you bring your coding guidelines and the PowerShell best practices in here. Yeah, so it's in this step. I'm going to go a little bit quicker because we have not much more time. And so maybe still some obvious advice, but maybe not. When you write code, first thing you should do, make it exist. Just make the solution work from A to Z. Although it's horrible code, make it work, right? Then save it. At least if something happens to you, or if somebody else needs to pick it up, you can delegate it. Or if they really need it because there's really an urgent need, you at least have something, instead of having a beautiful function which is useless because business cannot use it. Then make it better, right? And save it. So you have a second version, not as good as you would like to, but still better, with that beautiful function. Then make it perfect, right? So this is really, and then ship it. Yeah, and then too much on your plate. It can happen that, you're alone, somebody is sick, or, simply management puts too much on your plate. It can be sometimes very challenging. This helped me actually in the past by blocking parts off. I also did that to manage also stuff in my private time. Simply blocking things, and hey, when it pops up, okay, I need to do it. And like this, you can block, for example, coding time, where people cannot send you meetings, for example. This is just time for you to code. And then in addition to that, when you actually have your moment of coding, sometimes you can be distracted by emails, team chats, something like that. There's this technique called Pomodoro technique, which allows you actually to stay focused for like a specific amount of time. Here, like Pomodoro is generally 25 minutes. You basically work 25 minutes, have a small pause of 5 minutes, another 25 minutes, another 25 minutes, and then you have a longer pause of 15 to 30 minutes. I like to do 3 25 sessions. Here they have 4. Yeah, and that's it. We are exactly on 45 minutes. Voilà. So if there are any questions, yeah, I'm here, and that's it. Voilà. Thank you.